morning, everybody, and welcome back. So before we talk about this, the situation with the meningitis outbreak in the United Kingdom right now, it's moving quickly, it's moving fast. This is a genuine and rapidly evolving cluster. So what I'm saying right now, the facts and figures I give you right now, they may have changed this afternoon, they may have changed tomorrow, because the situation is developing. Right. What I'm going to do in this live stream, we're going to be talking about the meningitis outbreak. We're going to be talking about lockdowns. We're going to be talking about how, look, guys, this is the headline from GB News. Meningitis outbreak may have mutated to gain additional superpowers, warn health officials as urgent probe launched. So we're going to be talking about this meningitis, and then I'm going to give you my potential lockdown dates. If there is a lockdown, I'm just throwing it out there, guys, that 6 years and 66 days from Britain, from the first lockdown. So, in 23rd of March last year, 2020 was when Britain went into, so in 3 days time, that was when Britain went into the first lockdown. Now, 6 years and 66 days after that brings us to May the 28th of May. I'm just putting it out there, guys. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Prince Andrew was arrested 666 days since those horses went through, ran through London. Again, maybe coincidence, who knows, ladies and gentlemen, who knows, but that's what I'm saying. And that date, May the 28th, just over 2 months, kind of feels like that could happen, right? It absolutely does. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the live stream today, guys. If you're new, please make sure you hit those buttons, guys. The like, comment, subscribe, all those, literally all those things down there. It really helps us out on that. So the latest on this meningitis outbreak in Kent is worrying, and it's hitting close to home for many of us in the United Kingdom, especially families with students or young people in the southeast. As of today, there have been now 29 cases notified of the that have this particular strain of meningitis. Tragically, 2 people have lost their lives: a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old. Now, the epicenter is quite clearly this nightclub called Club Chemistry in Canterbury. I don't know what those guys were doing in there. However, it looks like that is ground zero. Most early cases tie back to people who were there on the 5th, 6th, or 7th of March, with spread then rippling into university halls, the University of Kent, Canterbury Christchurch, plus a handful of local schools. Now, the strain behind the UK cases right now, specifically, it's called Sequence 485. That's what they're calling it, guys. Sequence 485. It's something that's been quietly circulating here for about 5 years. What's got experts digging deeper is the sheer explosiveness of the cases exploding from what looks like one venue in such a short window. That's not how this usually behaves. It's typically isolated cases, not this kind of cluster. So the UK health and safety, basically the government, are rushing to find out what's actually happened. And there are people saying that this has now mutated, giving it extra additional superpowers that might make it more transmissible and or aggressive once it reaches the body, causing the rapid slide into sepsis or meningitis. Again, look, I don't claim to be a medical expert. What I do claim to be is somebody with a pair of eyes, and somebody who lived through 2020, and somebody who watches the news and understands the setup for the payoff. It feels to me like we are getting the setup right now, and the payoff is going to be another national lockdown. That's what it feels to me. Let me know what you guys think. Now, it is important that, even though mainstream media, that's why I've put it in the title, GB, let me just share this, guys, real quick. So GB News are reporting today at, there's no time on it, paradoxically. So there's no time on this. In fact, let me, I'll share this. Meningitis outbreak may have mutated to gain additional superpowers. There's quite a few outlets that are reporting about this mutation, and it feels to me we were set up with everything in 2020. Oh, it's mutated. Yeah, we know that when things mutate. Oh no, it's mutated. Mutants are bad. I remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were good, right? However, these additional superpowers that, like I just said there, might make it more transmissible and more aggressive. Now, I think it's important to note at this point, it still is limited to a very small area in Kent. However, if these mutations are proved to be true, then what that means is, with the 14-day incubation period, in the context that when you get this, it takes 14 days for you to show symptoms, what that means is those numbers could grow rapidly. And if you guys remember when COVID-19 hit the United Kingdom, whether you guys believe in it or not, when those cases appeared in the United Kingdom, as soon as the first case was detected in the United Kingdom, it was already over because of the incubation period. You get it, you're sick, you're breathing germs on other people, you're not getting any sickness symptoms. And that's not going to a candy shop. That's just meaning you're sick. And then you get the symptoms. Oh no, oh God, right, I've been passing it to all these people. Then they've got 14 days. Then they pass it to someone else and they've got 14 days. So that could be what's happening in the United Kingdom right now. The public health's response, the public's health's responding aggressively. Thousands of doses of preventative antibiotics have gone out to close contacts. Nightclub attendees from those key nights now expanded to anyone up to the 15th of March, and linked students and staff. Vaccination clinics up and down are running through universities. Hundreds have been queuing for the vaccines. And eligibility has been widened to cover more people who've had the antibiotics, for example. The NHS have put out a national alert to doctors to stay vigilant for symptoms, but officials keep emphasizing that this is localized to Kent. They're saying there's no evidence of this spreading wider yet. However, if this, like I keep saying, if this, and we're being set up for this payoff of, excuse me, being set up for this payoff, right? We are being absolutely set up for this payoff. So what does that mean, and where could we go? In the short, the government and experts are saying that the risk of people catching that is unlikely. However, with mutations raising the risk of transmissibility or transmission, and the making it potentially more aggressive, then that could change very quickly. It could change very quickly from something that is only passed from basically saliva touching or whatever, or vaping or sharing cigs or whatever, where it is now. However, if the sequencing of this genome or whatever it is comes back and it's something more concerning, say higher transmissibility, the playbook would be ramping up. Now, What's already happening right now, more vaccines, more antibiotics, and all sorts of, other measures are in place. However, I think what everybody is seeing right now is another full-scale national emergency. We're going to have to see how this pans out. We are. I definitely see it there, and I see the seeds. I can see the seeds being laid out in front of us. Now, the National Health Service, or the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, has called this unprecedented and explosive, yet they're framing it as localized with proportionate steps. There are no hints yet of a national lockdown, and this is just me saying it, guys, okay? Sky News and others have straight up said a lockdown isn't likely for now. The next couple of days, what's going to happen is we are going to get more information about this. We're going to get more information about this. And if it is confirmed, and if the mainstream media start pushing out more narrative about this strain has mutated, it's more transmissible, if then we see more fatalities or whatever, I genuinely see because it's not just the ability to lock, it's not just locking people down. If you lock people down and say, right, stay in your homes, hands facing space, they're going to reduce their, they're going to be reducing their fuel input output. They're not going to be using diesel or petrol going to and from work. And it does look like we're heading towards global fuel shortages. There was already a report out from someone saying that, people should be encouraged to work from home. Having a national lockdown, it really does push this agenda forward. There's going to be more people unemployed. We've already seen that. We've got a couple of weeks. Factories are screaming out because of this, the national fuel, gas, energy. They're saying that that factories can't keep open because of the fuel crisis. So that's going to force more people into unemployment. It does feel like there is a lot of, regardless of whether this, warrants a lockdown or not, the argument for a lockdown it's strong. So whether this develops into something more or not, I'm giving you guys the date. I'm adding 666 into this. I'm adding 666 into this, guys. And I am adding the fact that 6 years and 66 days from when Britain was launched into the first lockdown brings us to the 28th of May. That's when it brings us to, guys, the 28th of May. So that's my date. If there is a lockdown, I'm going to say it's going to be at the end of May. Right, I'll jump onto the chat now, guys. I'll jump onto the chat. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is my second live stream because I wanted to do this as a standalone live stream because it didn't really fit into what I was talking about before. So it's going to be a relatively shorter live stream. Yeah, the Watchman is saying thought there was. Yeah, do you know what? Actually, I think you're right. Do you know what? Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Thank you for correcting me. Yes. So I'll share this with you guys real quick before the ads come on. Yeah, meningitis case in France linked to University of Kent outbreak. The person is a student at the university. At least 2 people. Okay, so right. Okay, so this was a French student at the university. So I guess okay. So it's like yes and no. Was there has there been an outbreak of meningitis in France? No. There was a student that was French, as I understand it. He's gone home for the weekend or whatever, and then he's been diagnosed with meningitis in France. So yes, that's happening. look, if we let's rewind a little bit and say what we were saying previously. If this has mutated, then that would mean it's more easily transmissible, right? So all the people around, I think I might have got it. All the people around him may have got it, and then in 28 days they're going to be showing symptoms, right? Paul J is saying all the students in Canterbury are heading home as well. Yeah, so this is going to be like a super spreader. Okay, imagine this as the worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario right now. All the students head home for is it Easter? Yeah, Easter break or whatever next week. Is it? Is it this weekend or no? It's next weekend. So next Friday, next Friday, next Saturday, next weekend, all the students, right, in Canterbury, they all go home for the week for Easter, right? They're all going back to mum and dad, for Easter. A lot of those students, potentially, this is hypothetically now, a lot of those students could be infected. They're not showing any symptoms. They go home. It then comes on the news. Oh my God, it's a super spreader. Oh my God, the antibiotics don't work. Oh my God. Mum and dad have got it now. Little kids, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Sherry Heppelstone is saying the same. All the students and teachers will be going home for Easter holidays. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that. Not enough vaccine. Sean, their chart. No, I think it was 700. And so from what I remember yesterday, or whenever I first started talking about this, you can buy this vaccine privately. Now, I think that Asda, I'm pretty sure Asda was selling it the cheapest at £170 or maybe £180 or so, less than 200. Now, there are also reports that there are also private clinics that are charging up to £700. I think it was actually up to £750 for it. So everywhere you go, you get price gouging, right? Every time there's a disaster, people will profiteer on that disaster. Unfortunately, guys, that's the world we live in. Wolf says, remember what Bill Gates said in that interview? No, I don't. Tell me what Bill Gates said. What are we talking about? What did we say? What did we say? What did Bill Gates say? I don't know what Bill Gates said. Sherry is saying they try to stop people from running around using fuel. Yeah, I think all these things come into play, right? Padlock Boozehammer says, you ain't getting my spinal fluid. That's my telomeres. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give anybody my spinal fluid either. I'm just jumping to the bottom, guys. There's quite a lot of comments. I'm literally at the bottom now. Oh, Googlinos has put a comment on. Switzerland blocks arms exports to the US. Yeah, they're all going to need this, right? Because they like everybody in Europe. They're all. I mean, what does Switzerland produce? I don't know what they produce. What do Switzerland produce? Chocolate? Like chocolate? They're not letting the United States have chocolate. Remember, all the Europeans need to stay prepped and locked for the war in Europe. And airlines are making plans for fuel shortages. Yeah, we know this, guys. We know this. We know this is happening, right? I think we've probably got like 10 days of fuel left. And the reason nobody started fuel rationing yet is because as soon as you start fuel rationing, everybody goes out and buys it. You think about it, right? think about fuel rationing now, right? The price of fuel goes up. They say there's a shortage, so everybody rushes out there filling jerry cans, they're filling everything, and then you get a real fuel shortage. So I think the fuel shortage in the United Kingdom is going to be announced maybe not next weekend, but maybe the weekend after that. Oh, English Daredevil is saying Bill Gates said there will be another pandemic. I mean, I think that, yeah. I mean, in what time frame though? What time scale? Just Pixie is saying adults have shorter telomeres, kids don't. What's happening, guys? What's all this with the telomeres, right? Can somebody explain to me, like I'm a child of 6? Like, I know what a telomere is. Like, if you have long telomeres, does that mean you are susceptible to meningitis? Is that what it means? Victoria Steiner is saying, loving the streams, thank you. Listen, guys, if you're on right now and you've not done so already, can you please hit those buttons down below, the like, comment, subscribe, the bell notification, just little buttons down there, guys, little buttons down there, because the news at the moment, if you live in the United Kingdom, is the direction of travel right now with this meningitis, all right? It's absolutely... You know, there are more cases every day. The headline from, let me share this again, actually. So the headline from GB News this morning and many other news outlets are talking about this virus mutating. Meningitis outbreak may have mutated to gain additional superpowers. Do you know what? I'm going to read this article. I'm just going to read this article, guys, okay? So the meningitis outbreak may have mutated to gain additional superpowers. Health officials are examining whether a mutated strain of bacteria caused the meningitis outbreak in Kent. I'm going to speculate right now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to come back as a yes, it has mutated. Researchers are analysing whether the bacteria has developed additional superpowers that could explain its unusual spread. Lab tests are being conducted on samples from patients in hospitals, but where else would they be, to examine its genetic code for significant mutations. Professor Robin May, the Chief Scientific Officer at the UK Health Security Agency. Right, we're already getting these names, aren't we? Can you remember the last one, Dr. Chris Whitty? Oh, I'm Dr. Chris Whitty. I'm a little bit out there, so I must be good at my job because I'm a little bit eccentric. So I don't know whether this is a man or a woman, but Professor, well, if it's a professor, it's got to be a man, right? So Professor Robin May, the Chief Scientific Officer at the UK Health Security Agency, said the Canterbury outbreak was very unusual because meningitis normally only appears as isolated one-off cases. He added, most days, actually, we would see one case of meningitis in the United Kingdom. Wow. This is obviously, wow, that is right. I didn't realize that. He's saying he is a he. Obviously, can you have a woman professor? I don't know. I don't know if you can have a woman professor. I don't think you can. Anyway, he added, most days, actually, we would see one case in the United Kingdom. This is obviously a much larger number. What's particularly remarkable about this case and unexpected about this case is the large number of cases all originating from what seems to be a single event. Yeah. I'm not going to question what's happening in those student universities, nightclubs. There are two possible reasons for that. One is that there might be something about the kind of behaviors that the students are doing. Gonna leave it there. The other possibility is that the bacteria may have evolved to better at transmitting. Another doctor, Dr. Chris Smith, a consultant virologist, told the BBC the unusual event the unusual element was how one event had translated into so many people who've developed the infection. He pointed out the code behind this bacterium, asking, what's in that might endow it with these additional superpowers that's turned it into a more invasive form of meningitis. This type of bacteria lives harmlessly in the throat, but can sometimes invade membranes surrounding the brain or spinal cord. Ah, right, okay. So when you guys were talking about spinal, look, guys, I don't claim to be like, a medical expert with all this sort of like infections and stuff. Gunshot wounds, trauma, airway management, advanced trauma management. If people have lost, I can deal with that. All right. We're talking about this stuff and like germs and I don't know. The outbreak has been linked to this super spreader event at the Club Chemistry nightclub in Canterbury. Health leaders describe it as the largest cluster of cases ever traced to a single venue. I do, guys. I think the information is going to come back about this, and they're just going to say that this is mutated, and everybody's at risk now. Concerns have grown after someone with suspected meningitis revisited the nightclub following the initial super spreader nights. So anyone, they're saying now, who goes to this Club Chemistry nightclub in the past fortnight is urged to seek antibiotics and vaccines. The vaccines are being offered like they're being thrown out like candy sweets to everyone. However, more than 100 people waiting for meningitis vaccines at the Kent campus were turned away on Thursday due to insufficient NHS capacity. So you guys can see how this is building up, right? Imagine this being like, has anyone watched World War Z with Brad Pitt? Awesome movie. I think it's one of the best zombie movies. I love a good zombie movie, guys. So at the beginning of World War Z, right? It shows you like the news flashes and how things happen to, to get you guys caught up because you go straight in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. Excuse me. So that's where we are right now, isn't it? Meningitis outbreak in Kent. Vaccine capacity insufficient. 100 people sent home without vaccines. Easter leave, Easter break. They all go home. They all infect their families. There's an incubation time of 4. Like, wouldn't it as a zombie apocalypse movie, right? If this was a zombie apocalypse, like we all see the zombie apocalypse movies, and you get the blood in your mouth or whatever, or they bite you, and then like on World War Z, I think it's like because I think he gets some of the blood in his eye. Is it in his eye? Or is it in his, I don't know. I can't remember what it is. Either in his mouth or his eye. I can't remember what it is because he's on the top of the roof and he's holding the zombie off. Awesome movie. And he jumps up, Brad Pitt, and he's over the top and he's like 1, 2, 3. He's like, right, okay, I've not turned. So when you're watching a movie, for the pace of the movie, it makes sense to have that instant turn into a zombie, right? But think about how terrifying it would. We're going down on a massive side quest. If this was a zombie movie, imagine how much more terrifying it would be if you were infected, but you didn't show symptoms for 2 weeks. Like you didn't start to turn into a zombie for 2 weeks. everybody you touch, your kids, your mum, your everyone. Yeah, that would be worse, right? Right, I'm just going to scroll down, guys, and get the rest of this article. Oh, that's it. That's the article done. Right, I'll just read you a few of the comments from the bottom here. Oh, somebody's saying here, Keith Abdullah is saying, you reap what you sow. Open borders means transmission of diseases, but that can't necessarily be the case. It's tragic for those who have died. I think the main point is that our health system is on its knees and we may well collapse. Yeah, I think that as well, guys. The health system in the United Kingdom is just ridiculous. You can't take on another 10, 11 million people without far-reaching consequences. Do you know what, guys? Yeah, what a comment. So now we've got all these more millions of people in the United Kingdom who all need healthcare. You know, they all need healthcare. They all need vaccines. They all need, you know, their checkups. What happens to the people who've been paying into that system all their life? Do they go to the back of the queue? Do they have to wait with everyone else? The health system in the UK, and I know some of you guys like challenge me on this, and I welcome that. The health system in the United Kingdom, it's broken, guys. You know, it can't be the case where here in the United Kingdom we have a health system where if you are a failing hospital, if you fail at your waiting times, if you fail at customer feedback, you are at the bottom of every metric. They give you more money. How does that work, guys? Like, can you imagine? Imagine in the defense industry, right? Imagine the defense industry, right? You've got a producer, right? And he's producing artillery shells, right? Imagine this producer, right? He never produces his artillery shells on time. When he does produce the artillery shells, some of them are missing cordite, propellant. Some of them are missing. They just don't work, right? They don't work, and the taxpayer goes, and then the government goes to him and says, "Excuse me, yeah, you're failing here, mate, with your artillery shells." And he's like, "Yeah, I know, I can't manage these stuff." And the government go, "Oh, it's okay. Here's some more money. Here's some more money." It doesn't help, guys. It doesn't help. Right, I'm jumping to the bottom again, guys. What are we on? Right, we're already over the time. Steve is saying zombie apocalypse. Yeah, what apocalypse are we having, guys? What apocalypse are we having, guys? Are we having the zombie apocalypse? Are we having meningitis apocalypse? Are we having Terminator apocalypse? Or are we having Mad Max apocalypse? Or are we having cyberpunk altered carbon apocalypse? Like either one of them, guys, I'm fine with. I just want to know what clothes to get. Oh, hang on a minute. Google is banging out a load of stuff. Right, Googly, I'm not going to put these up. I'm just going to read them off the screen. So it says when he puts one up. Australia's Prime Minister called a putrid dog and traced out of a mosque. UK is one step away from medicine shortages if the Iran conflict goes on. Yeah, guys, this is all leading to the lockdown. This is all, look, guys, this is all the... This is all the setup, I feel, for a lockdown. Christine Chambers, hello, Christine Chambers, is saying fog in Sheffield today, chemtrail spraying yesterday. UK set for triple lock for nuclear war following. Oh, God, not nuclear war. I don't think nuclear war is going to happen. Hang on, Googling us is blasting these out. Deadly kill zone spreading across Ukraine front fast. Yeah, we said it was going to happen, didn't we, guys? The Ukraine front, Eastern Europe, whatever's coming, get ready for the 2nd or 3rd of April. I keep saying it. Those dates are screaming out, guys. 2nd and 3rd of April. I don't know what it's going to be, unfortunately. There are too many options. It could be all of them. UN chief says war crimes may have been... Yeah, what is a war crime? And 2 suspected Iranian spies were arrested after trying to break into Clyde yesterday, Britain's nuclear submarine base. Right. Max C is saying the prison system is also under a lot of stress because mental health patients are being failed and put into prisons due to lack of NH. Everything's failing, guys. We are in the end of a society. We are in societal end right now. The best way to put this is the first Mad Max movie. The first Mad Max movie. The first 1979. You don't really know what the apocalypse has been. You don't really know what, you don't really know what the apocalypse has been. You don't really know what's happened. There's kind of the system's broken, and it's clearly broken. People are pretending that the system works when it clearly doesn't. There's criminal gangs marauding. Who you've got like humongous cruising around in his chaps. You've got a police force that can't really enforce the law. That's where we're heading. Right. Oh, so we talk. Okay, so we've got more information about so it's a man and woman, an alleged Iranian man and woman who were arrested in Scotland on suspicion of being Iranian spies. Right. Okay. Listen, guys. Do we think we're heading into another lockdown? Listen, guys. I'm going to close this down relatively soon for 2 reasons. You guys remember there? I used to have a glow up. You guys remember there? Somewhere I used to have. Well, I've still got it. I used to have like a little tree, a glow up tree thing. Yeah, I was hoovering up earlier between live streams, and I went over the cable, and I need to fix it anyway. That's one of the jobs I need to do. I've also got errands to run, guys. So I am going to close this down. I want to leave this. Yeah, I think this is coming, guys. I think these attacks are coming. Remember, when talk about sleeper, I'll talk about sleeper cells quickly. But when you activate a sleeper cell, it takes time for them to conduct that mission. It's not flash to bang. Yes, sleeper cells have been activated a long time ago. Have they conducted their missions yet? Probably not. You need to allocate funds. You need to do reconnaissance. You need to gather materials. You need to fabricate equipment. You need to put that plan into action. So jumping back to these to what's happening right now, guys. Okay, the news on the. In fact, let me see if there's been any updates on this. Give me a second. Meningitis mutations. Okay, so from the Independent 1 hour ago, yeah, they're already spreading the seed. They're already spreading the seeds. They're already spreading the seeds, guys, to let people know that that the health chief warns deadly meningitis B strain mutation could be fueling rapid spread. I think that's what's coming, guys. I do. I think that's what's coming. You know, we see these things roll out slowly. Every aspect now, every aspect, whether it's war, financial collapse, it happens slowly. Islamification of Britain, it happens slowly while they do it slowly while telling you that it's not happening, right? Look what's happening in the Middle East. Happening slowly, telling you it's not happening. Let me just start to close this down now, guys, because I'm already 10 minutes longer than I wanted to be on here. So the meningitis lockdowns, I do see a direction of travel where later on today, maybe tomorrow, there is more media outlets. They've sequenced the genome and they've found out, and they found out that, the meningitis has mutated, and all of a sudden it becomes a super spreader. But guess what? The students have already gone home on leave. So now the outbreak that was contained in the university in Kent, all those students have gone home. So they've been going home on the train. They've been driving, stopping off at service stations. They are then in nightclubs back home. So they've gone from the Kent nightclub to the Barnstable nightclubs. They've gone from the Kent nightclubs to the Newcastle nightclubs. They've gone from the Kent nightclubs to the Cardiff nightclubs. And then you start to see how this thing can spread, right? Actually, it's a good way to spread it, right? Because those students are going, and it's the perfect time to spread it. Now, I'm just throwing this out there, ladies and gentlemen, that 6 years and 66 days since Britain was thrown into lockdown in 2020, that brings us to 28th of May this year. I'm just throwing it out there, guys. I'm just throwing it out there as a potential lockdown date. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, as always. Paul J is just saying Doncaster's not very nice, and I welcome his I welcome that. Yeah, Doncaster's not very nice, says Paul. So I'm going to close this down now, guys. If there's any more breaking news through the day, I will be back on it and I will be hitting that to you. I would suggest right now, guys, okay, that everybody just kind of agrees and oh, hang on. Is Victoria from Doncaster? I don't know if Victoria's from Doncaster. Maybe that's what she's saying. Maybe Victoria said she's from Doncaster or something. I don't know. I would say everybody think about these two things now. First of all, this conflict in the Middle East is going absolutely nowhere for a long time. 3 years, I'd say this conflict in the Middle East is just going to get worse and worse and worse. Here in the United Kingdom, we're going to have fuel shortages. It would make a lot of sense to have a lockdown. I think the next trigger for if there's going to be a lockdown or not is going to be if or when scientists, follow the scientists, hands, face, space. If and when scientists come out and they say, yes, it has mutated. That's going to be the next trigger, right? Because that's going to lead us to the next thing. Okay, how easily is it transmittable? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down. You guys are fantastic. I'll be back on shortly. And if you've not done so and you're on, please share this video with a friend and hit those buttons down below, the like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps me out. I'll see you later.